Thanks for joining today. I just wanted to make a video about this clip where I called into the Alex Jones show to talk a little bit about Bitcoin and what was happening with the panic at Mt. Gox. So here that is.
Now, earlier in the show, we were talking about what's happening to Bitcoin, specifically to Mt. Gox, the largest Bitcoin exchange, and how we now see that there's $470 million missing at the current valuation of Bitcoin. Just disappeared. 750,000 Bitcoins of customers and 100,000 of their coins they claim they have lost. The largest exchange has now declared bankruptcy. And of course, it's a question as to, is this a Bitcoin issue or is this simply a Mt. Gox issue? Now, of course, Mt. Gox grew out of an exchange of game cards. It was there's a game called Magic: The Gathering, and of course, they grew out of that and started trading Bitcoins and became the largest Bitcoin seller. And a lot of people have said this isn't a Bitcoin issue, this is a Mt. Gox issue. Nevertheless, it's affecting about 7% of the Bitcoins out there. And as I said before, I have real concern personally about staying out of this because I'm not really sure how I can reliably get in of it, get out of it. And I'm also concerned about central banks who view it as competition, maybe because this is openly, they can manipulate the value of this. Would they do it? Of course they would. They've manipulated the value of gold. They manipulate the value of everything that competes with them. I love the idea of a digital currency. I'm just not really sure about the actual details of it yet. We got someone who's called in on this. Eric in Massachusetts, you wanted to weigh in on Bitcoin. What's your take on what's going on with Bitcoin and Mt. Gox?
Hey, David. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Great job you're doing there.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, I guess I know Alex has had an issue with Bitcoin from the beginning as well. And, years ago I put a video out with some issues I had about Bitcoin. But I think that it has so many opponents out there. You mentioned some there, the banks, the central banks, corporations, and definitely the mainstream media is kind of attacking Bitcoin. And I feel that Infowars is kind of just reading off the headlines in a sense rather than really looking at the issue. And I think right then on the preface here, you actually hit the nail on the head by saying, is this a Bitcoin issue or is this an issue with Mt. Gox? Mm-hmm. And clearly it looks like, I could see this maybe as being a case of embezzlement. This didn't happen all in one shot. They didn't lose it all. It's been happening for a while. And it's basically because they weren't following the standard protocol for any of these digital currencies. I mean, even a credit card, you swipe it and it has to be accepted or declined. And they were allowing these transactions to happen before a single confirmation would occur, when most places would do a minimum of 6 confirmations would make it safe, foolproof. And they were doing these transactions prior to any confirmations. Mm-hmm. And this is where they were getting bit, because people were realizing that they had already received their Bitcoin, and without confirmations, they could rewrite the script number, change it, and it basically would be their receipt to say, hey, I never got my Bitcoins. What happened?
That's right. If you don't give a certain amount of it takes a certain amount of time to let that percolate through to verify it essentially. And a lot of people had pointed out that Bitcoin that Mt. Gox was processing these things too quickly, allowing for something to be double charged essentially. And so maybe what this is an accumulation of that. It's hard to tell whether it's that, whether it's an attack on them. I mean, the attack, even a cyber type of attack could be coming from governments who view it as competition. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that this is really a Mt. Gox program, that Bitcoin is basically solid. It'll be interesting to hear what Max Kaiser has to say about this, because he's been on the show a lot of times. He's a very big supporter of Bitcoin. I know Alex is very doesn't feel good about it. I know that Mike Adams doesn't feel good about it. I looked at it. I really want it to work. I was just very concerned about a lot of the nuts and bolts. Did I understand it enough that I wouldn't get burned by this? How do I keep my Bitcoins locally as opposed to keeping them in an exchange that could go belly up like Mt. Gox did? Do you have any advice for anybody on that?
Oh, absolutely. There's a few ways. I mean, with Bitcoin being, having such a big digital wallet, it can be cumbersome right now to have it on your computer, but you could put it on a small little hard drive, a pocket drive. You can have it printed on a a paper wallet that's hacker free. It's not even in the system, and that kind of be your cold storage. I would feel foolish if I had my Bitcoin in that amount of Bitcoin in an exchange, thinking that it was safe. I mean, even on your own computer, they say, there is a potential for hacking, and the NSA can do whatever they want with our computers. Of course, they could, probably uncrypt anything they wanted in it.
Yes.
But you could have it offline. You don't need to keep it stored in any one way. And as far as people wanting a digital currency, and you mentioned Max Kaiser, I understand that everyone says, I don't know if Bitcoin's the answer, but I want a digital currency. But what's happening now in the past year are hundreds of new digital currency. And Max Kaiser joins the boat with Maxcoin, kind of comes in and says, well, here's my cryptocurrency. Check this out.
That's right. He's got his own now. Yeah, that's right. I've heard him talk very favorably about Bitcoin, but that's right. He's introduced his own digital currency, hasn't he?
He has. It's called Maxcoin. And I honestly, Max lost a lot of credibility with me because of that. Because, he honestly, he's a smart man. He made a lot of money on Bitcoin. And then he started to push one by one some different Bitcoins, which he bought into, and then he would dump them. And then he decided to make his own coin. And when you have 100 plus, new coins trying to fight to be who's the next digital currency, it just makes it look like a clown show. And we need to kind of come together and say we want to decentralize peer-to-peer currency. We got to minimize it. Let's find the top 10. It doesn't have to be just Bitcoin or Bitcoin at all, but to muddy the water with all of this, a new coin every day,
right.
It just makes it look foolish. And people that don't understand this, the old timers, the gold bugs, they're going to shy away from it. We need everyone who's aware of what fiat money is about to kind of come behind this so we can take control of our monetary system again.
Very good point. And, it is gaining currency, so to speak, no pun intended. It's gaining currency by many different places where you can actually use the Bitcoins. And I think that's really the key. As long as you've got to move in and out of currencies like the US dollar, and as long as you've got to move in and out of the British pound or whatever, it's still going to be a bit of a problem. If you can keep your money in Bitcoins and buy goods and services with it, get paid with it, if you've got a whole ecosystem, that would be a very valuable thing. So we're going to keep looking at it. We're not throwing it under the bus yet. It's just simply amazing. And it is something that people need to be very careful about. That's really what we're talking about when we look at these issues. It's complicated. People don't understand the ins and outs of it, literally. And so it's something people have to be very careful about. But we do hope that something, whether it's Bitcoin or something else, that we see some digital currency that's going to come up and actually drive out the fiat currencies of the central banks. Thank you, Eric in Massachusetts. Let's go to...
Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Please like and share, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out.